You're listening to The Voice of Reason. I'm Dr. Len Saputo here with Francesco Garapoli. You know, we've learned a lot of things from the COVID-19 experience. It's been a few months now, and we should be looking at what the meaning of this is in terms of our spiritual side. What do you think about that, Francesco?
You know, people have been in a lockdown for 2 straight months. We've known about this coronavirus, COVID-16, 1927, whatever name it is, this game around,
Yes.
enough to confuse people so much. We've been 4 months now, really, in our consciousness. January, February, March, April. We're finishing up April now. It has turned people upside down. I know people who are relatively normal people who've had their normal routines and go to work 9 to 5, who've never really thought too much about these kinds of spiritual things or deeper meaning things. A lot. It comes up, of course, but not a normal way to think. All of a sudden, being put in a situation where they have to be introspective. And you combine that with the stress that comes from wondering where your job's going to be in a couple of months, wondering where your family's going to go with your finances. All of a sudden, we're seeing spiritual type of things, introspective thinking, meditative type of thoughts really coming to the forefront of people.
It's a wake-up call. So
It's
all of a
been a
sudden,
big wake-up
the things
call.
you've taken for granted and that you do almost robotically, you get up at 6, you get home at 6, you eat dinner, you watch a little TV, you play with the kids, you get up, you do that 5 or 6 days a week. I call that the 6-6 syndrome. And it's a disaster. People are working 40 or 50 hours a week. Where's the real value in life? We look at things from an economic point of view. Have I got a big enough house? Do I live in the right neighborhood? Do I have the right kind of car? Is it time to buy a condo someplace for vacation? Do I need to buy a boat? These are all the material things that you get for working. So you work for a year or 2 years or 5 years and you buy yourself a Porsche. Really? That's what it's about? What's the deeper meaning of what your life is about? What's your epitaph going to say? How are you going to have some kind of idea of what's important and then aim for it? Shouldn't we be teaching that to our kids in the first few years of life so they have some idea where the target is?
But when these don't happen, these questions, these moments don't happen naturally, they will get foisted upon you. They will
That's a
be
kind way
put,
to say it.
right. They will be presented, and everyone knows this in their life. When they go down a path, and it may not be the healthiest path, something usually stumbles.
Yeah.
Something comes up in their way, and they have to look at it. That's the nature of life. That's maybe the nature of the spiritual part of our life anyway, is that you're going to get hit full on with something you need to look at, whether you like it or not. And COVID-19 has been a wake-up call, as you say, in that area, in that regard.
Well, that's true. And look what happens when you're on your deathbed. You're looking back and all of a sudden you're not thinking about your stock portfolio or how much money you've got in the bank. You're thinking about all the people that you've had a relationship with in your life, and you want to make it right.
Yeah.
Somehow you want to connect. I have a feeling even the Martins and McCoys, were trying to kill each other all their lives, probably on their deathbeds are saying, I'm sorry it was like that. We should connect, because deep in our hearts, what we want is to be loved, and we want to love. We want to do it unconditionally and receive it graciously.
Yeah, and we want to live a life that's closer to what we imagine it should be, which is being kind to each other, that we're in touch with the people we love, that we tell the people we love that we love them. And what's so curious, during this COVID-19 shutdown, I've been getting calls from people I haven't heard from in a long time. I've been seeing people do really kind things. I've been seeing people ask a lot of deep questions to themselves they haven't ever in years.
Yeah, well, look what happened to us. We
Yeah.
talk to each other off and on, but when we started this TV show, on the internet, now we're talking to each other all the time, and we're remembering the things that we had years ago. It's been 22 years we've been friends. It started out in a spiritual lesson, and it still is. It's one of the best things I've had in my life. I want to thank you for that.
Yeah, me too, Len. It's amazing because for us, we talk about things that are important. Very rarely do you and I have superficial conversations. It's our nature.
That's right.
And it's because we probe. We're people that probe to the deeper side of things for ourselves. I mean, I love that we can share this with people, but people have to know that you and I are like this normally,
Oh,
right?
for
This
sure.
is how we are. I ask questions that don't make sense to me when I see the world. I ask questions when I want to find other people's perspectives. I ask questions, and that's what this Voice of Reason is about, and what drsaputo.com, the website, is about. And I hope people will check it out. I always talk about reminding people to go to the website because there's so much stuff there. You've done thousands of videos
Yeah,
with yourself or with Vicky or together. It's
that's right.
amazing.
Right. Well, we have to look at who's looking out for us. Who's looking out for the American people? Is it the FDA, CDC, NIH, World Health Organization, Bill Gates, Democrats, Republicans? Who can you trust?
Well, right now, I had to go to the store the other day, big box store. It was packed. The parking lot was packed. The store was packed. People were respectful. Some people wore masks. There's arrows in stores now to walk down aisles the right direction. And I
Mhm.
ran into this beautiful elderly woman. She was going the opposite direction from the arrow. She said, "Excuse me, but I haven't been out of the house in 2 solid months. This is my
Oh
first
no.
time to go shopping."
Yeah.
And and I could see this look in her eyes, the stress that she had, the fear, is today the right day to do this or not?
Mm.
I mean, she carried so much in that statement, but she looked at me in the eyes and smiled. And and you realize we are humans. We are meant to connect. We are meant to build herd immunity. We're meant to be on journeys together.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about.
I've noticed some other things too. You know, when I got up this morning, I looked outside, I went, this is incredible. I bet I haven't anybody's had this view in a couple of 100 years because the pollution is gone. The
Yeah.
air was clean. The soil is being cleaned up. The food is better. All the artificial intelligence that we're used to on our on our iPhones or whatever phone you have is diminishing. People are talking to each other.
Very
It's a wake
interesting.
up call.
One thing I noticed too is I don't hear those planes overhead.
No.
I'm outside right now. We haven't heard one plane. And I don't know about you, I'm kind of conscious of this. There's usually planes every few minutes.
Yeah. Well,
So
I've been listening to your background. You must have birds in your trees there because I can hear them.
yeah, I'm in nature right now, and it's a beautiful thing. The birds must be happy that humans haven't been destroying the
They're-
planet as much as they normally do these last couple of months.
That's right. Well, we live in a matrix and we are becoming to realize that. And now, for those of you who've seen the Matrix, which pill do you want to take, the red one or the blue one? You know,
Right.
the red one, which says you've been awakened, you see what's actually happening, or do you want to go back to the blue one, which you were definitely in sync with because that's what you did, but you never saw the other side of what was possible. I think it's
This is
time
about
for us. It's time to wake up.
it's time to wake up. It's time to make choices. And that's what we're trying to do, you and I, with this series of Voice of Reason, is to just ask them questions. So you as a viewer can ask some questions. And together we can start making choices that really make sense. And so look at the facts, look at your heart. And together, I think we're going to see a better world, a different world for sure, after this whole menagerie is over.
Well, it's opportunity that comes from disaster.
Yes, for
We'll
sure.
see you next time on The Voice of Reason.